Okay, we're happy to be up here to talk about non-allopathic stress management tools, practical strategies that work. I'm going to introduce our panelists and then we'll dive into it. So first we have Tabitha, founder of Awakened and Aligned, a spiritual and trauma-informed practitioner specializing in nervous system regulation, breath work, and plant medicines like Kambo for addiction and trauma release. We have Azad Godas, genetic specialist and educator in interprofessional collaboration with experience implementing award-winning teamwork programs in healthcare settings like Saudi Arabia. Myrna Saide, holistic psychiatrist and founder of a multidisciplinary well-being center emphasizing integrative approaches, including, is Myrna with us? Okay, Myrna may be coming, we saw her. Breathwork, sleep, optimization, hypnotherapy, and addressing inner child wounds. Yvette Rose, author of 21 books, including Metaphysical Anatomy, with experience in 43 countries, helping over 7,500 people through psychosomatic healing, breathwork, and trauma resolution. Madhavi Subramanian has held critical leadership positions, driving team performances on the wellness front, international yoga gold medalist, podium finisher in half marathons, wellness warrior, possesses unique blend of strategic strength and mastery of ancient sciences, blending into modern living. Through her company, drives wellness initiatives for corporations and individuals. I'm Dr. Brian Lillenquist, a podiatric surgeon turned wound care specialist focusing on collaborative post-acute care and market development for clinics across 8 states in the United States. So let's jump right into questions, or the question portion. But before we do that, we thought it would be cool to work through a breathwork practice.
So before we begin, as we've all been here digesting so much information, I just want to invite you guys just to go ahead and close your eyes and just begin to settle into your body. We're going to be talking into some of these topics today, so we thought this would be a really fun way to bring this into practice so you guys can really drop in and really be able to utilize some of these tools. So just go ahead and close your eyes, and I just want you to begin to do a body scan, dropping into your body and see if you can feel any sensations in your body. Maybe you're not feeling anything, maybe there's some tightness, some areas of tension. And I just invite you to close your eyes and connect with that feeling and emotion in your body right now. And when we're utilizing the power of breath, it's really about doing that deep abdominal breathing. So we're going to be doing some belly breathing here, not chest breathing. So when we're doing this type of breath, we really want to have that nice abdominal breath. So we're going to be breathing in through our nose, and you're going to be fully exhaling through the mouth. And we're going to do this breath for about 4 times. So this type of breath work is called a Panaveyu, and we're going to be having a shorter inhale through the nose. We're going to have a short pause at the top and exhaling fully through the mouth for about a count of 6 or 7. So I'm going to go ahead and cue you. So when you're ready, we want to have that nice deep abdominal breath. So taking a nice deep breath in through the nose, slight hold at the top, and gently exhaling through the mouth. Breathing in through the nose, 1, 2, 3, 4, hold. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, hold. Exhaling through the mouth, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Last time, inhaling, 1, 2, 3, 4, hold. And exhaling through the mouth, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now that we fully have all your attention, I'm going to pass it back over to Brian.
Thanks for that. That felt good. Did everybody feel that participated? Very, very nice. Thanks for doing that, Tabitha. Okay, our first question, and this is open to any panelists. Our format will be any panelist can answer. You can choose to skip. And then at the end of our questions, we'll open it up for audience questions, participation. So our first question is, what is your go-to non-allopathic tool for immediate stress relief, and why does it work so effectively?
Okay, hi everyone. I'm sure that breathwork really served us well. Before I go to what, Bran, I would like to step back and I would like to address why. And I'll take three perspectives. Number one, as far as stress is concerned, the body and the mind, they are like concentric circles. So far as they're functioning like concentric circles, there is no stress. Like look at babies, they are absolutely joyful, because they are like, their body is where their mind is. You are here in Dubai bodily and your mind wants to be somewhere else. That's where when that disintegration happens, that's when stress starts setting in. That is number one. Number two, the hardware and the software. The hardware, it has been the same for thousands of years. 2 eyes, 1 nose, 2 ears, the blood flows, the heartbeats. Hardware has been the same for thousands of years as far as humans are concerned. What is changing is the software. It is racing ahead. It is racing ahead. So therefore, that is like stress from the future. Like when we say, be in the present, be in the present, be in the present, So when the mind is racing, the software is racing away and your hardware is right here, that is another aspect. That is from the futuristic perspective. The third perspective is what comes from the past. Like, we are again considering the software. This is the master hub, the brain, that is the master terminal, master control. And then we have these junction boxes, like when we can relate to our childhood biology, the brain, and then there is nervous system along the length of the spine. There are certain junction boxes. From there, nerves disperse to different organs, cardiovascular system, your digestive system, reproductive system, your excretory system. So whatever has happened to us through the childhood, whatever has happened, the master controller, the master computer sends signal to these micro, hubs. And then that is where there are certain memories that got, that got recorded. And when we function, like suppose a child had a bad experience on the stage and growing up, we have stage fear. That comes from the fact that they say, oh, hey, this happened in the past. It goes to the recording and it says, oh, this has happened and you're in a danger situation. That is where the stress comes from. So now coming to what is one go-to strategy? So one thing that would really help is, if I have to answer in one word, it is breath. Because breath is the bridge between body and mind. So as far as stress is concerned, if we have to combat it effectively, breath is your go-to, very, very impactful tool. And we will uncover and discover a lot about it as we go along.
So for me, what works extremely well is when I feel stressed, what works is I assess, why do I feel unsafe in this moment? Why do I feel unsettled? The reason why we become stressed is because the nervous system is dysregulated. So I feel and I connect into, what can I do right now? What step can I take right now that will help me to feel safe? Sometimes it can be something as simple as listening to a song. For me, I personally love sound healing, like just simple crystal bowls. The frequency that I listen to on my headphones is incredible. It's very soothing. Breath work also helps extremely well. And something that also helps me a lot is when I actually stand up and jump until I'm tired. And the reason why that works so well is because it represents the runaway instinctive response. Because sometimes when we get stressed, the body feels trapped. It doesn't know what it needs to do. And we have so much cortisol that's building up in the body. And a great way to discharge that is to actually do what instinctively the body is designed to do. So it's either run, hide. So what I find that works really well is to simply just stand up and jump until you're tired. And then lastly, what I would also do is hold my breath in the mouth, hold it as long as I can, and then exhale out the nose. It works extremely well when you are in the middle of a meeting and you're panicking and you can't stand up and jump. This has helped me incredibly well in so many instances.
So for standing up and jumping, you could do that if you're sitting at your office. You're talking about standing up, jumping in place till you're tired. Yeah, very cool.
So just So any of you who saw me yesterday morning just before my speaker, key moment, I was standing there in the corner, I was standing up and jumping. I don't know if any of you saw me, but that's exactly what I did.
Hi, Myrna. Did you catch that first question? Repeat it if you want to respond. Yeah. We're talking about what is your go-to non-allopathic tool for immediate stress relief, and why does it work so effectively?
Hi, everyone. Hi, my fellow panelists. Been looking so much forward. So my go-to is actually a combination between hypnotherapy and breathwork. So I love hypnotherapy in the sense that it can guide the person into the subconscious mind, into memories that have been hidden. Just now, I've been sharing the story of a person that has a lot of blockages when it comes to public speaking. And love, etc. And through hypnotherapy, through the subconscious mind, and of course we do that through relaxation, even though relaxation is not a prerequisite really, and through breath work. And we went into a memory where the person was, criticized, unloved a lot by the parents, and as well at school. So we have a lot of traumas in life, and for us to be able to be less susceptible to stress, it's very important for us to work on those traumas and release them through hypnotherapy and breath work. For me, these are top-notch, Brian.
Thanks for that.
Thank you.
Next question. How can someone build consistent habits for stress management, like a morning power hour or daily check-ins, to prevent emotional spiraling?
So one thing that I like to teach my clients is we're all creatures of habit, and we all have intentions of doing something, right? How often have you said, yeah, I'll do that later, and we often put things off. But one thing, and just speaking into the power hour, is how you start the day determines if you're going to actually win the day. And I give this to my clients a lot, is speaking into the power hour, is it's that first hour of the morning where, and I use this for myself, it's like I'm myself before I'm anybody else's. Because if you can't be your best self for yourself, you're no good to other people, your kids, your partner, into your business. And so with the power hour, it's really giving that yourself that time first thing in the morning to drop into your body. Otherwise, what happens? We end up getting out of bed, our feet hit the floor, we're on our phones, we're in our emails, we're in our LinkedIn, right? And this is how we often start the day, is we're often setting ourselves up for failure if we're just jumping into our devices. So taking that time to actually drop into your body intentionally is going to set you up for success. And one thing that I give my clients, it's super simple, is rather than having this mentality of I'll do it later and just forgetting, is use your tools. Get in your cell phone, set an alarm on your phone. This is gonna seem very, very redundant and very repetitive, but there's a reason for this, is accountability. And I tell my clients every 2-3 hours, set a reminder in your phone, breathe, 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 breathe. Because just like you set your alarm to get up for work in the morning, is having that alarm and that audible tone is going to be that reminder that's gonna make sure that you drop into your body and you actually do it in the moment, not later.
Okay. For us, when it comes to healthcare, working in healthcare is, let's agree that healthcare is a very complex sector where sometimes we are dealing with patients who are already stressed coming to the organization or coming to the hospital, but we took it from different angle to see sometimes staff are stressed. Either due to heavy work, due to personal issues. So handling that breath out for certain individual, the next level is dealing with that as a team. The team who is going to take care of the patient. And if the team is going to be stressed, and sometimes the stress is coming from not working together very well, don't understand each other very well. So this is what we started to work on, and dealing with the team itself rather than one individual.
So small micro habits, those very little tiny behavioral changes which you can actually integrate into your day. That is what would stop you from going down that emotional spiral. So this is in my book 30 minutes a day for immunity and health. That's what I had given. I mean, you can take your 2 pages. I had given different modules for different professionals. If you're sitting most of the day, how your 30 minutes should look like. If you're standing most of the day, if you're speaking, or if you're traveling, for senior citizens, kids, for somebody with hypertension, for someone with stress. I have 2 pages written there for combating stress. And if you miss those 30 minutes during the course of the day, along with the profession, along with the day, during the course of the day, what are those small little things that you can do so that your body is not fatigued and your mind stays fresh? That was my intention of writing this book. I would say morning hour, obviously, if you can have that power hour in the morning, if you happen to miss it for the reasons of travel or for whatever reason, those small little things which you can integrate into your daily routine, practical routine, that would really help you. Yeah.
That's great. Thank you. Okay, next question. In your experience, how does addressing underlying trauma or emotional wounds lead to better physical health outcomes? And what's one client success story that you might share that illustrates that?
Thank you, Brian. So I'm actually happy to use a personal example of this where public speaking, right? So many of us have a fear of public speaking, but in my specific case, my father was quite a volatile person to communicate to, constantly shut down. So my association with communication was very traumatized. So every time when just the thought of having to talk, I would actually pass out. I have actually had an incident where I passed out and I had to say just one sentence in front of a camera. Just one sentence. That's how severe it was. And here I am now, a public speaker. And so this is an excellent example of how I had to practice and get into the habit of by learning to understand what is the underlying stress behind why I have this habit, why I have this fear of public speaking, because it actually blocked me from fully expressing and living my purpose. And it started with EFT, started with hypnotherapy and breathwork until I developed my own healing technique. And so that's an excellent example of something that's just fully well lived and overcome.
Well, thank you, Yvette, because you reminded me of myself, because during college, I was the worst in presentation skills. So I did not present very well. I did not remember what I used to say. But in order to handle sometimes stress, you have to face your fear and take it as a learning from mistakes. You are learning from what happened in order to improve.
Absolutely. Actions that really brought you out of that emotional trauma. I think both of you touched upon it. So as far as emotional trauma is concerned, like I had mentioned at the opening, we have this supercomputer and those junction boxes. Anatomy calls it nerve plexus. Yoga calls it chakras. So whatever has happened through the life, there is that memory around the chakra. There is something called fascia, the muscle. We all have muscle memory. That is where the memory stacks. If you have like stage fear, I had mentioned, or if your creativity was curbed at some point in time, that gets blocked, that gets registered at Swadhisthana chakra, at your sacral plexus. Your ambition gets curbed. You wanted to do something you couldn't do. That gets curbed at at solar plexus. And then you had a heartbreak, your heart chakra. You couldn't express your throat chakra, your throat plexus. So at different points, human anatomy is brilliant. It is like any powerful machine. If you understand it well, it is very easy. We don't really need external medicine. We don't need any external devices. If we understand it well, we can actually tweak like we do with other machines or equipments. We know the right tools, we can tweak and correct it and then get going. So simple things like activities that they have mentioned, my co-panelists had mentioned. Or like for my clients, I do give one of the, you had asked about an example, one of my friends, like in India, we have a concept of joint families. So she wanted to be really good to everyone. So she had held her voice. She did not say anything to her in-laws, the other joint family members. So as a result of which she developed thyroid. She didn't even know why she got thyroid. At the end of it, we were doing sessions with her. At the end of it, I told her, it is not necessary for you to express. It doesn't mean that you go one day and shout at people and then you get it out of your system and you are okay. No, it's not that. If you're keeping something to yourself, you're keeping your voice to yourself, there is a reason why you're keeping it to yourself. Your mind knows the reason. So you should be able to, you should have that power to hold it. The power to hold, I will go to a bit of, maybe a little extent, and I'll quote Lord Shiva in Hindu mythology. There is this god called Lord Shiva, wherein the mythological figure, it's a story, we all understand story. So he's supposed to have held poison in his throat. Symbolically what it means is, if there is some poison, the world we are living is not very clean, there is poison. So your body or your breath or your emotion should be able to hold that poison. You should have that power. Once you have that power, you have worked over your emotions. You have really achieved, achieved victory over your emotions.
Brian, I'd like to also. So the question you asked about trauma and how it affects us physiologically, to recap, as a reminder.
Yeah, how does addressing underlying trauma or emotional wounds lead to better physical health outcomes, and what's one's success story?
So in terms of addressing trauma, as you were mentioning, so we want to understand how the trauma happened and how did it impact us. And we want to understand that trauma usually physiologically, there's inflammation in the body. So it can, of course, cause, be it obesity, it can cause diabetes, it can cause hypertension, it can cause palpitations, tachycardia. It can spiritually, psychologically, it can make us feel as if we are out of place, as if we don't belong, as if, what's my life mission? Why am I here? So trauma, when we hence, target trauma and we want to treat trauma, of course, we want to look at it from a holistic perspective. We want to get our blood tests done. We want to make sure our inflammatory markers, aren't so high. And we can always incorporate turmeric. We can incorporate, natural anti-inflammatories, like turmeric. We can take antioxidants like coenzyme Q10. We can, of course, repair our minerals like magnesium. We can look into vitamin deficiencies, especially vitamin D. And when it comes to psychological trauma, of course, mind-body medicine, so I'm a specialist in that, everything is connected. So when it comes to how we will heal from trauma and then how we will be impacted, we will be successful. So we will be able to succeed in anything that we want in life. However, if trauma remains to be the script, the narrative in our mind, the belief, I am traumatized. Whew, what does this do to you? The belief of I am traumatized does not allow you to succeed, does not allow you to be prosperous, even though you might be quite intelligent, but it totally blocks you. So reprogramming that is very important, and I can tell you about so many cases, Brian and everyone else, be it infertility. Infertility, after processing naturally, holistically, she became fertile after 6 months of treatment, be it public speaking, be it any condition, that you might think of, everything is reversible. Medicine tells us in medical school, no, it's irreversible, right? So, however, when you look at things in a holistic manner, once you go within and deal with your traumas, everything becomes reversible and everything becomes, positive for you guys.
So how do you bring that into a healthcare team with allopathic doctors and not get pushed out of the room? Like, what's a strategy for that?
Brian, great question. because I come from a traditional medical, education background. So of course I've been criticized. Just now we were talking about how, my professor thought that yoga was dangerous. And why do you want to go into hypnotherapy, like stay as, psychotherapist? And my uncle is a chairman of medicine. He's a neuroscientist. So you definitely are risking getting kicked off. However, it's important to stay true to yourself. The throat chakra, I did a lot of work on my throat chakra. It is safe to speak my truth. And so it is. So this is my truth. I'm going to speak about chakras. I'm going to speak about Ayurveda. I'm going to speak about the benefits of omega-3 and flaxseed oil, and ashwagandha. And I'm going to speak about adrenal fatigue. I will speak about all those things that I totally believe in. And my patients come to me because they trust me and they are into prevention more than treatment. So that's very important. If there's something acute that needs acute treatment, of course, go to the ER. Go see a surgeon, a general surgeon, and they're all my colleagues and they're all my friends. I respect them, they respect me. This is how they practice and this is how I practice. So complementary medicine for me is always, what I advise other people.
Azad, I'm curious, so from your perspective, how would you integrate that into a team?
That's a very good question. Now, again, coming back to this is the problem in healthcare. Healthcare is about misunderstanding each other. Sometimes because they don't know that there are other professions existed. So, and you can imagine how this is going to impact our patients. Now, from our side, we started to implement education and training. It's about training and educating the healthcare staff how they are supposed to learn with each other and about each other. If I can give you an example of Cleveland Clinic right now, the health education campus in collaboration with Case Western University started to let medical students study together. You can see that physicians, pharmacists, nurses, and other professions are studying from the beginning together because they have to know about their roles and responsibilities other than their roles and responsibilities. And we started to do that in order for us to let the healthcare team understand each other, hold each other. If someone got stressed, for example, of someone has a bad day, they will start to work as a Navy SEAL. I like to give an example always that there is a similarity between healthcare team and Formula One. Well, both of them have a pit crew, right? But the pit crew in Formula One managed to improve changing tires from a couple of minutes to a couple of seconds. And yet still we are having that difficulties in healthcare because, again, and I told you that before, it's like a Lego movie. You have super talented master builders, but they don't know how to work together. And this will lead to stressful environment that might impact the patient or might impact the staff themselves. So our initiative started to build training and education about core competencies related to the team. And we have a very good outcomes that I can share with you that 16 professions were new to our audience. They didn't know 1/6. They didn't know about their roles and responsibilities, so they might know about your importance towards patient care. And after long-term assessment, we started to hear from our audience that they felt they were empowered, they managed any language barrier, and also they felt that this is a trustworthy environment. And this will improve the work environment that impacting patients as well.
If I may add, Brian, research is very important. So for me, I advise all my colleagues, be it in, yoga, in terms of alternative medicine, homeopathy, chakra balancing. Do research. Even if she's a massage therapist, do research. When you are a researcher and you have data to present, you will be heard among scientists, okay? So, for example, at the American University of Beirut, where I am a graduate of, we started Health and Wellness Center. I used to teach psychiatry there for so many years. And then when my professor said, oh, you're a hypnotherapist now, I told her, can I start teaching hypnotherapy? I was met with resistance in the beginning. However, I fought hard and consistently, and then I started teaching within the semester 1 hour of hypnotherapy, the same way I teach CBT and mood disorders, etc. So once you believe in a mission, of course, it's about connections and being grateful and being, in your approach, diplomatic, etc. But you will get there. So especially now with the certifications, most of the universities in the US are allowing physicians and nurses to be certified in lifestyle medicine, in hypnotherapy, in. So once you get the certificate, you can start to pitch it in your hospital and start giving this added, compassionate, spiritual touch to patients. Because this model of care is very important to add you, the soul, in the middle, how you breathe, how you, your connection to your soul, your connection to your land, to your environment. We have to have these conversations with our patients. We are so much more than our symptoms. And we don't want to be killed, don't kill the messenger. Symptoms are numbed by medication. Why? If I have a symptom, why should I directly be prescribed a medication for it? Why not in the beginning, close your eyes. Let's put your hand, on your heart. Let's give the symptom a voice. What are you doing here? Why are you in my body? What can you tell me? Why did you come here? Give your symptom a voice, and your symptom will give you wisdom and will teach you the steps, will give you concrete steps of what you are to do, and then the symptom will disappear. So you tell me which approach is better, listening to your body or killing off your symptoms by a medication that also will have side effects. So, you tell me, Brian.
I don't really have much to say. No, the way that we're doing medicine right now isn't working, not wholly, right? And I think the point that you make about that, there are things that need to come out, right? Like we have to cut things out sometimes. We have to put things back together sometimes. But some of these other ailments that we have, where we throw medicine at it, and then pretty soon you have a patient who's 70 that's on 40 meds, and we have so many patients like that. And then the polypharmacy that happens that you can't even track, like what is that doing to the patient? So it's, go back to the basics, and it's like, okay, what's this message I'm getting, and how do we get that out? And I think that gets overlooked for sure. Yeah, very good.
100%. And remember, when they give you a diagnosis, which is idiopathic, they tell you idiopathic. What does idiopathic mean?
I don't know.
Like it's the unknown. It's like, it means like this symptom has been caused by stress. But because they are not trained to look into the root cause of stress, they say idiopathic, which is basically unknown. And this is how they hook you on a certain medication. So it's very important. Listen, I'm not against medication, to be very clear. There are cases like arrhythmias. There are certain cases like, for example, severe depression if the person is in her 70s and she's suicidal. There are episodes of psychosis. This is real. Hallucinations are real. You know, sometimes if, and this is a case that just happened with me, like she traveled to Italy and all of a sudden, because her father died there, she started having auditory hallucinations, you know, listening to voices as if the voice, like command hallucination. Like the voice is telling her, put your hand this way. No, don't do this, do that. And then she started having suicidality, you know, and I'm in Dubai, and she's back from Italy to Lebanon. So I had to contact a colleague of mine, like, please, she needs hospitalization, right? So there are cases, please, there are cases that of, be it in mental health or be it in physical health, that necessitate medications. However, if from the beginning, the type of life we are leading is the kind of life that is, you know, we have the jumping or like bending the knees, you know, this is part of Dr. James Gordon Center of Mind-Body Medicine in the US. So bending the knees, sounding, breathing, I'm with all that. But we have to have this kind of lifestyle, you know, in order to prevent getting morbid diseases in the future. That's what I think.
That's great. Thank you very much. We've got 2 minutes left, and I want to stay on time. Does anybody from the crowd have any questions or comments? Please.
You good? Thank you. It's actually a comment and a thank you for everything you said. My name is Alex Filipovic. I'm a medical oncologist, and I practice trauma healing now in my oncology clinics. Amen to everything you've said. Thank you for giving a voice to this. We need more and more discussions like this, and I feel that many more of our colleagues are coming on board. And I witness quite a few just nodding in dark corners. And I feel like we need to keep speaking up, to give them permission to remember what we are remembering. And that is that healing is a lifestyle, and it does come from the inside out. And I always like to say to my patients, diagnosis is an assignment of the body. So
100%.
every single patient walks in with a story, and that story leads us to the root cause, and the symptoms just are voices that we need to acknowledge. So thank you so much for giving them a voice today. Thank you for the panel for that opportunity.
You're so very welcome. And you know, my specialty at ICANN School of Medicine in New York is into, you know, REBT, teaching REBT, rational emotive behavioral therapy, to oncology patients. And most of the time, believe me when I tell you, she got her cancer, for example, to feel more love from her husband.
Of course.
She got her cancer for her, daughter to come back from abroad. You know, so separation is definitely, I believe, an emotional root cause for cancer. And my hope is for REBT, hypnosis, or any of those good tools that my fellow colleagues spoke about to be incorporated in the medical model.
100%. I practice a lot of internal family systems as well in the clinics. And to follow that example, and another one from my experience is when I dropped a patient into her body and we gave the cancer the voice, it said, "I'm the broken heart."
Wow.
So these are incredibly humbling moments and points of human connection. And I genuinely feel like the next biggest innovation in medicine needs to be the return of the human hand.
Yes. Thank
And
you for
so,
all the
amen.
work you're doing.
Thank you.
You're
And
brilliant.
you as well.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Any more questions in the room? Okay. I have one mic and 2 questions. I'll start with you first.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for this panel. I thought it was great. A small comment that I picked up on from you, Dr. Mirna. You said something about spiritual patients If you could go a little bit deeper into that.
Spiritual
Patience.
patience.
Patience. It's just a small comment on the side you made that I picked up on.
Remember when I said that, or in which context? Spiritual patience or patience or patience?
In the patience sense, not patient. It's difficult to explain, but not in people's regards, in more the patience sense.
Patience in terms of, peace.
Exactly.
In which in general, when we talk about patience, I think patience or tolerance, is that what? Because kindly, help me remember in which context or which dimension that, if you have the notes. But in general, if I am to talk about patience, there are beliefs, of course, that I'm impatient or I have frustration intolerance, and this is quite prevalent also in our EBT. We say that the person with the diagnosis of cancer, let's be more specific, they have frustration intolerance. So when it comes to my practice, I will need to reframe that into being tolerant, releasing the frustration and being tolerant, because oncology, the cancer, it's a long way. It's a long way to go with lots of treatments. There's a lot of suffering. It also involves patients and their families. So in here, some people develop the frustration intolerance. We have to retrain the attitude to be more tolerant, to be more patient. So if you can give me a specific example.
Yeah, because I really like the patience, or I'm learning patience more.
Yeah.
And the notes I have here, just the topic that was before that, was that you're going to be heard among scientists if you do the research. And then the exact words that I wrote down was a spiritual touch to patience. It's going to give a spiritual touch to patience.
Okay, to patients. I was talking about patience.
Oh, maybe I misunderstood that.
Yeah.
That's possible.
I was talking
right.
about patience in that sense. You know, that when we are, let's say, we don't come with medical degrees, but if we, of course, have our medical degrees, but if people, like, for example, the people that are into, life coaching, or people that, or only hypnotherapists, or only essential oils, aromatherapists, like, they are really doing great work, or even yoga, the yogis out there. So the more they do research, they can definitely integrate into the healthcare system. We were talking, Brian asked a question, how to integrate into the healthcare system, to Mr. Azad here. So the language of hospitals usually is research and data, and they require that in order for them to invest, let's say, and open a new department, right?
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
thank
yeah,
you.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Thank you. We have one more question across the room. And let's see.
My question is for Dr. Yvette. We have come across child trauma or trauma-related issues and how they affect us when we are adults. So, first question: at which age do we recognize that we have, or we might have, some trauma-related issues related to our childhood? Okay, and second question is, if parents are not healed from their trauma, can they raise free trauma children?
That is a really great question. The first question is, and a lot of people have actually asked me this, and my answer always remains the same. People always ask, when and why should I do healing work on myself, right? So the first point is to learn and recognize and build the awareness that you feel uncomfortable. When you live a life to the point where something within you is distracting you or causing you to feel that I'm not living my best life, that should be the first red flag. So when I started my journey as well, it started with discomfort. It started with depression. It started with anxiety. And only then did I start to understand Well, why is that there? Because I was on heavy medication, right? And with personal development work, I was able to get off of that. Now, this is the challenge. How much pain do we need to be in order to finally have that moment of awareness to realize that I'm actually comfortable feeling uncomfortable? For some people, they need to go through a crisis. For other people, it does just take that answer, or not that answer, but that moment where they can realize, I'm just a decision away from living a life that feels more comfortable. So really, it comes down to awareness. And the problem is that we can become so stuck in a survival response, and especially when we become stuck in a dissociative state, it's really hard to realize that this is a state that can cause people to feel safe, because endorphins are released and we feel comfortable in that. So it's always really a matter of awareness. And there's many people that I've seen that is living horrible lives. They are suffering. And I so deeply want to help. But some people, if you want to reach out and help them, you get pushback. And sometimes people can even get aggressive because they're not ready to receive that awareness. They're not ready to take that step. Because the problem is that we build coping mechanisms around the problem. And people often become attached to these coping mechanisms. And they're not ready to let go of the associations that they over time formed with these coping mechanisms. So it really comes to a point where, have I had enough of feeling comfortable, feeling uncomfortable? And where that threshold is going to be different for most people. And the second question that you asked, and I hope that covered it just for the time that we do have, but it was such a great question. The second question that you had, a child is going to push you to your limits. They're going to push you to your limits, no matter how much personal development work you've done. I have not met or seen a healed parent. The problem is the standards that we try to set for ourselves, and then constantly feeling on a daily basis that we're failing because we're not reaching the standard that we've set for ourselves before having children. I have too. And it took me a whole year after my first child to realize that I'm not failing as a mother. I'm doing my best. No one wakes up thinking, how much can I ruin my child's life? Right? We're really, truly trying our best. But what I did have to learn to understand is that when my child's having a tantrum, when something is happening, that child is being a mirror to me. Why is that child's behavior making me feel so uncomfortable? And I realized it's just normally because I became stuck in a state of disappointment. Why is my child behaving like this? Where did I fail in my actions for this child to behave this way? And they're living completely on their nervous system. So they cannot understand and emotionally rationalize life the way that we do. So I've actually had to learn to take a step back and try to see the perspective and the situation from their angle. And that is when I had my breakthrough with my two children. So just in very short, I do hope that that helps. And it's such a great question. I wish I had more time. Thank you.
Was there one more question? Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, hi. It's not actually a question. It's just I wanted to say to Dr. Mina, like exactly what you're doing is now the trend, and we have in lifestyle medicine, this is what we're trying to, we're learning that every emotion is related, to a certain organ, because see, the body tries to heal, to protect itself. So most of the traumas we are learned that they happen before the age of 7. And, sometimes the unconscious, they throw the trauma somewhere in your body to protect you and to continue, living. But sometimes it's going to come up and you don't know why this is happening to you. And until we remove that thought and that emotion, we're not going to have a healing. For example, if you have eczema, it's going to keep on going and coming, and it's related to separation. And this is why newborn babies, most of the time, they have eczema because they were separated from their mother. So it's when you said about a certain emotion cause cancer, it can cause so many things, but it's about the perception. Like the same experience might happen to me, to you, and to someone else, but I'll get cancer if my perception was different than yours. So it depends on the perception of what's happening. It's going to affect a certain organ in the body. So now, actually, we cannot heal except, like you said, the acute things, you know, we need emergency or surgery or whatever. But if we don't create the balance between the emotions and the food, like we say it neuro, it's a nutrition, exercise, optimize, the sleep, unwind. If we don't do all of this, we're not gonna be healed, actually healed, and continue our life. And this is why, you know, we have so many, how we say, misdiagnosis, so many, they don't know why this is happening to them. They gave them label because they never go deep and go to the root cause. So I think what you're doing is amazing, and this is what we really need, and this is what I'm trying also to do. It's to preach about the preventive lifestyle medicine. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to add one more thing that you also shared earlier about being rejected with different methods by your mentors. And so I'm actually gotten myself to the point now where, I mean, I have my PhDs, I have all of it. But what I did was I actually took my professional hat off. What I did was I would take these people and I would tell them, I'm not going to help you as a psychologist. I'm going to help you as just a normal person. And we're going to create the changes. And then when we have those changes, you're going to get your diagnosis from a psychiatrist. You're going to come to me. We're going to work together until we get you into a good place. And you're going to go back to that psychiatrist. And you're going to say, and you're going to get that paper that you are off of your medication. You're not diagnosed with PTSD anymore. And I've successfully done that with thousands of people. And now I have doctors, psychiatrists, psychologists, everyone sending their people to me. And so what I had to do was I had to be selective when I'm going to be my doctorate professional and when I'm just going to be a vet. And it got to the point where I earned and gained the trust that what I'm doing is really truly helping people. We have to bring the proof to these people who are walking with their eyes wide shut.
Thank you so much. This really speaks to my heart, as well as with lifestyle medicine. I have so many colleagues now, for example, they practice, let's say, oncology, family medicine, and on top they are going for lifestyle medicine certifications. So for me at my center, I welcome students, as you said, you know, be it medical students, be it already doctors that have already graduated, because, you know, be it in psychology or in any scientific curriculum, there's no holistic or integrative methodologies. Even, for example, if they are being taught pharmacology, the doctor skips, the teacher, the academic, skips the part that covers, for example, alternatives, or that was the case before. But from now, I definitely am, you know, aware that integrative treatments are being incorporated, you know, in curriculums more and more. So we are lucky that already the movement is happening, you know, be it in the US, be it in Lebanon, and the Middle East. I don't know if Mr. Azad can share with us in Saudi, but I know, for example, a couple of physicians that are also, they're doing their own academies. It's amazing. And in their own academies, you know, they teach about breath work, meditation, they teach, you know, natural approaches, which is even happening in Saudi. I'm so humbled and so proud of those people. And thank you for your comment. It's not a one thing, of course. It's so many things. That's why we say holistic, integrative, you know. So thank you for that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just take 30 seconds. I really like your question. Yesterday also, I think you asked a question around, you know, healing from the organs. And that is, like she said, it's happening across the globe. And till the time doctors, in India, doctors do prescribe. They say, okay, you have a heart issue, go and see a yoga, you know, do yoga. You have diabetes, do yoga. But the point is, at least they are saying, go and do yoga. They don't know what to prescribe. So that is where these alternate therapies come in. And I'm so glad that this awareness is coming about, not just from medical professionals, from across, you know, from across the human race, and we are on right track. Yeah, thank you.
What a happy accident, right? Hey, let's give this panel a big hand. That was awesome.